That's my drag. So if he starts to take too much, I just let him slide out. Let the line slide away. See, there he went, there he went, there he went. What is this? What is this? What is this? Holy crap, what is this? Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to Backroads Angling. So today I'm gonna be chasing some panfish. So a lot of these panfish have pulled up on their beds and they're in really shallow water. Some of the biggest bluegill that you'll find during the year will be during this time. Also crappie and bass will also be there too. One of my favorite ways to target these panfish is with a fly rod. You can throw a light floaty lure and let it sit on the surface or just below the surface, and it's really easy to target these shallow fish. You don't have to worry about it going down and getting in the moss, getting stuck in anything. It can just kind of hover it in their face, and typically they will just smash a fly like that, like I've got a green woolly bugger on. So today I'm testing out a new fly rod. Testing out a new fly rod. It was only $40. Fly rods typically run on the expensive end, and I've got 3 or 4 fly rods. They're all about $100 to $300 just for the rod, not counting the reel. I typically splurge on fly rods because if you get one of those expensive fly rods, you can really feel the difference and the ability to cast and put the fly wherever you want. So I'm always kind of skeptical of these cheap fly rods. This one's only $40. It's one of the cheapest combos I've ever seen. It also came with fly line. It came with a leader. It came with like 6 flies. There are a lot of good reviews, so I was curious to see if it actually worked. This one is a 5-6 weight, which is kind of in the medium range. A lot of my other fly rods are 3 to 4 weight, which would be kind of light to medium light. So I've already been testing this rod out, and I'm gonna start out showing you a pond from a couple nights ago where that was the first time I actually fished this rod, and I was actually pleasantly surprised with how it behaved and functioned. So I'm excited to test this out a little bit more, see if we can get some big panfish in this pond behind me. I know it's got some decent crappie. I know it's got some big bluegill, I think, and we caught a nice bass here during ice fishing season. So all of those could be fair game. All right, let's do it. Female bluegill full of eggs. Ooh. There's one. It's not a hybrid, but it's a big bluegill. Awesome. Yeah. Yeah, there's some big ones in here. I mean, that's a pretty big bluegill. Yeah. Yeah. Pretty empty. Yeah. Big male, starting to get a little forehead on it. Yeah. What is this? He was out in the deep water. I don't know what's going on with that. But he was out deep. I think it's a bluegill. Oh yeah, it's a big bluegill. It's a tank bluegill. It is a tank. Been fighting in that water. Look at that tank bluegill. It's cool watching them fight. Oh my gosh, that's big. There's a tank bluegill. Look at that thing. Oh my gosh. There's one. Another bass. Jeez. Bass are just stacked. Wish they were a little bit bigger, but that's alright, they're fun. They're fun. This one's not too bad. This one's a little bit bigger. There we go. Ton of bass in here that size. Man. Watch the fish swirling on it. Got him. Feels decent. I think it's another little bass actually. I always tell the bluegills they just cut straight side to side. They just turn straight to the side. This guy's fighting pretty good though. You can see him down there in the clear water. There he comes. A little bigger maybe. Maybe a little bigger. Well, in terms of numbers, we are killing it. Last few nights I've been caught a ton of fish with this fly rod. Oh, there's one. He doesn't feel too bad. What do we got here? Again, on the fly rod, they all feel good, even these little ones. What is this? Be a bluegill? Yes, it's a big bluegill. There we go. I was gonna say, he felt big. Nice male bluegill. Oh my gosh. That is a huge bluegill. Look at that. Huge bluegill. Look at my hand. Look at him compared to my hand. About exactly the same size as my hand. Phew, man. That is what I'm looking for. There's some rocks in the water in front of me. And just some general structure. Rocks, twigs, things like that. I think that's why they like this area. Fish always tend to congregate over here. There's one. Ooh, that feels big. That's a bluegill. It feels pretty good. When he first hit, it felt heavy. Now we're getting into the big males. Ferocious, these things. And he just swallowed that. Look at where that fly is. Clear down his mouth. It's gone. I should be able to get it out with these forceps, but yep, came right out. He's barely hooked. Those colors. Beautiful fish. That's pretty close. Pretty close to the spot. They're probably little bass. Yep, there's one. Got him. Might be a bluegill actually. No, it's a bass. Bass. No, it is a bluegill. This big male doing way out there. Oh my gosh, it's a tank. There's a tank. Oh my gosh, that might be a 10-inch fish. I need to measure that on my rod. Because that might be a master angler. I need to at least document that. That is the longest one that I've caught. I believe it's a female. That is a big, big bluegill. My goodness. The females I've noticed are a little bit longer than the males. Another one. Another one. Another tank. This one's a tank. This one is a tank. Oh my gosh, it's a tank. Wow. Big bluegill. My goodness. I'd see one move and I just flip the cast out in front of him and they usually eat it instantly. Ooh, there's a good one. There's like a, oh, what is that? That's a crappie. Nice crappie. Oh yeah. It's a nice crappie. Black one. Oh yeah. Barely got him. Look at that guy. Yeah, man. So let's talk about some of the things you might want to think about if you're buying your first rod. You want to get into fly fishing. I mean, a rod like this could be okay. I mean, if you're not sure you're going to stick with it, a rod like this, it's getting the job done. But if you're just starting out, I think you want a rod that's as easy to cast as possible. And if that's the case, you know, you might want to spend $100 or more on a rod. It just depends on if you think you're going to stick with it or not. If you're just testing it out, this might not be a bad rod to try out. I would recommend it to somebody as a beginner, but only if they were on a budget. If you could spend more, I'd say spend more, because you really get what you pay for in fly rods. I mean, some of you have probably noticed that I skimp on my fishing tackle. I try to get away with the cheapest possible items sometimes. Sometimes it bites me in the butt, but a lot of times it actually works out okay. You know, and there's a lot of fish moving down here. Gotta get moving down here before it gets dark. But yeah, it bites me in the butt sometimes. Oh, there's a fish. That's a bass. 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 Oh yeah. See, I'm controlling the line with my finger right here. That's my drag. So if he starts to take too much, I just let him slide out. Let the line slide away. See, there he went. There he went. There he went. Oh, what is this? What is this? What is this? Holy cow! What is this? I want to land this one. That was a good run right there. What is this? It's a nice bass. Don't get me in the grass. Okay, there we go. Yeah, it's a nice one. It's a nice bass. About the size of the one that broke off, I think. Yeah, look at that, huh? Heck yeah. He made some nice runs. I kind of was starting to think he was going to be bigger than that. But, nice healthy bass. Look at that fish, folks. Got him on the $40 fly rod, and the rod fought him like a champ. Really happy with that. The bass and the fly rod. It's growing on me. Hopefully you can see all this. It's getting kind of dark. Nice fish. Let's get some more of those. You know, I know I talk to a lot of people. There's a tiny one. I talk to a lot of people that, you know, they give me reasons for why they won't fly fish, things like that. But man, it's good to be versatile. That's all I tell them. It's good to be versatile. Because let me tell you, there are situations that I get into where fly fishing is just the best way to do it. It's the best way to catch them. It's the most fun, and you can catch the most fish. And this is probably one of those situations. Fish are pulled up tight. It's all mossy. There's another fish. That feels like that's a bass. That's a bass. That's a bass. That's a bass. That could be a decent fish. So I've got my finger drag ready. And if he takes off, I'm going to let it slide. Another decent one. Boat flip with the fly rod. Yep, not the same size, but he's a little smaller. But there we go. They all feel like tanks on this rod. But that's generally the way it is with a fly rod, unless you've got a really heavy action. Can't wait to bust this out on white bass and wipers. That is going to be so much fun. And I'll probably use this rod. I don't see any reason to get a more expensive one. I can cast it. It's about the right weight in terms of heaviness. It's like a 5/6 weight. It's a medium action. I think that'd be perfect for like a white bass situation. It was something. Right back on him. Boom. See how quickly you can get the fly right back in his face? He doesn't even make it very far. See, we got him. See how we got him? There's a bass. It's a decent bass. Yep. It's a decent bass. See, that was, I think, a perfect example of how you can... The fish missed it. I pulled it away from him. I picked the fly up and put it right back down on top of him. This is another decent fish. This rod is not super flexible in fighting the fish. It feels, like I said before, it feels a little bit like a pool cue. So, another decent one. There we go. Nice fly rod bass. the size we've been getting. One of those nights I wish my dad was out here to fish with me. Passed away about has it been 18 years? 18 years ago, I guess. Maybe 17. But my dad was the one that got me into fishing, and he would have loved to be out here on a night like this. Another bass. Yep, that's a bass. We might get our big one here eventually here, folks. This one feels pretty heavy. I'm not moving him very well with this fly rod. I'm getting ready to, with my hand drag, to let him go here. He feels big. I mean, you got light line and light tackle, you can't really tell, but everything feels big. But okay, let's not lose this guy. This might be the biggest one of the night. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, he's decent. He's a decent bass. Look at that. Oh no, crap, sorry man. Jeez, hope I didn't hurt him. He fell onto a rock. Well, maybe I can slow-mo that footage and you actually see that fish, but he was decent. I don't know if he's quite as big as the one we caught during ice fishing season, but he might have gone a pound and a half, maybe. Heck of a fight. Fun to catch bass on a fly rod. That's one of the big points that I want to make too, is that you would be absolutely surprised the size of fish that I've caught on teeny tiny flies, like little ones, little tiny flies. The bass will eat them. There's another one, another bass. That was awesome. He's on the bank. He jumped on the bank. This fish jumped on the bank. That was awesome. Psych, that's a crappie. Oh, that's a crappie, a jumping crappie. Look at that. Not that big actually, but 10 and a half inches. Thought he was bigger. You can't see this anyway. I don't think anybody can see this. I'm about ready to wrap this up, but yeah, fun little evening session. Really appreciate everybody watching and interacting with me and everything. The main takeaway is you want to catch a lot of panfish on beds. Get yourself a fly rod, maybe a little $40 number like this. Maybe you want to spend a little bit more, get a $100, $150 one, and you can absolutely slay these spawning fish. They just cannot resist flies like this woolly bugger. So that's the main takeaway from this video.